Hello, my name is Anne, and I want to tell you a bit about myself. I'm 72 years old, and I'm from Stoke in Staffordshire. I like spending my time outside in the fresh air, going for walks, and especially gardening. My garden is my pride and joy. We grow all sorts out there, from peppers and potatoes to tomatoes and raspberries. For our 20th wedding anniversary, Dave got me a big oak tree that we planted at the bottom of the prairie. It's about 10 meters tall currently, but we hope its roots and its branches will keep growing and bring joy to future generations. I met Dave when I was 17. He used to work at my father's corner shop over the weekends, and one Saturday evening my dad brought him back for dinner, and to be honest, in one way or another he never really left after that. He became a part of the family. He was helping my mother in the kitchen and my dad at work. They had no choice but to love him. And when I turned 21, we got married. It was a beautiful ceremony in the local church with all our friends and family. We then had a reception in our garden and that same evening, and the garden never looked prettier. 3 weeks later, we moved to Leek. We wanted to raise children in the countryside whilst not being too far away from home. With the help of our parents, we bought a small home. Dave started working at the butcher's and I started working at the local school as a teacher's assistant. It didn't last very long, actually. A couple of months in, we became pregnant with our first, and I decided to stop working and focus on our family. We have 2 girls, Grace and Mary. They honestly could not be more different. Mary, the oldest, is just like me, happiest outside, very energetic, and sometimes too kind for her own good. Grace is much quieter. She's very clever and always dreamed of going to Oxford and learning how to build planes. These days, she actually did go to Oxford for English Lit. She loved it. We used to do a lot as a family of 4. Day trips to the peaks or even the lakes if we felt brave enough. Midweek visits to the community centre. When the kids were younger, we would take them to playgroups or swimming lessons. And once they got older, we would go to the small theatre on the first floor where they put on plays for the village. We had countless evenings of sitting around in the living room, playing cards and teasing Dave for what felt like hours. I think we were good parents. Well, actually, you would probably have to ask them, but I think we were good. Supportive, accepting, encouraging. It's what we tried to be. Mary's now married to Tom. They've got 2 boys and 1 girl. They live 5 minutes away from us, which is very nice. Boys are an absolute handful. Somehow they seem to be managing. When they don't, they just drop him off for a sleepover. Grace has moved to London. Selfishly, I wish she hadn't. But the big city does suit her and she does seem happy there. She's working for a company called K something. A lot of consonants I can't really pronounce. We miss her a lot, but thankfully she does come and visit whenever she can. And then one day, all of a sudden, this life we built, the memories we shared, started slipping away from me.
So he's lived in this house in Leyland for 60 years maybe, and he sort of gets lost sometimes. But yeah, we'll find him and he'll just be like chatting to some shopkeeper or like some random people who he doesn't know, who are a bit freaked out, but he's happy enough.
One of the first things that happened was that he lost interest in his hobbies. Partly he couldn't do them anymore, but more so he did not want to.
The key point was when he lost his licence, his driver's licence, because he was big into motorbikes.
Right, okay.
He loved driving his caravan. And then I think he got worse after he got his driving licence taken off him. I think that's when he became quite bitter.
On a particularly hard day, he became very frustrated, and as he was still quite young and strong, when he lashed out and hit my mum, he ended up injuring her, and she had to go to hospital to get a couple of stitches. Then when she came back, he couldn't remember what had happened, and when we told him, he felt awful.
It's like grieving someone slowly, because they're getting less and less like themselves every day.
Like, I don't know if it would have been that different, but I think if I'd been there been able to visit more as she was getting worse, maybe she would have recognised me more at the end.
Still pretty cheery, even if he's sort of in his own little world.
And then she was just sitting at the table reading. She was always a reader, but in the early stages of dementia she continued to read. But we realised that she wasn't actually reading at all. She could read the same book over and over again. She wasn't taking it in. That was a horrible, bizarre thing.
Ella era muy alegre, muy dicharachera y tal, y de repente cada vez más callada, cada vez más ensimismada, porque realmente perdía la facultad de comunicación.
He's a bit quieter now. Like he doesn't really know who I am a lot of the time, so he's just a bit quiet.
She was like quite withdrawn at the start, and like didn't really have much of a facial expression. She definitely trusted my dad and my uncle and my granddad the most. So when they would try and give her the food, she would take it more easily from them, because at the end she would needed to be fed.
Still very much traces of the person, but more like a shadow of herself, really, drifting in and out.
It's changed our relationship for sure, which is sad, but and it made me realise how much I took him for granted, when he did have his mind.
Yeah.
But he still teaches me things, like being patient, compassion, and like finding joy in the little things, like when he's smiling at a baby, or like being stupid. It kind of takes you back to my childhood, I think, when he was a big figure. Even though his mind's going, like his influence and his value still remains, doesn't it? Because people still love him, and I think that's the biggest value.
Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, 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 love. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say that you can learn.